Advanced Studio Classroom is on the air. Today we are dispelling some myths. Join us as we talk about pet allergies. Welcome back to Advanced Studio Classroom. My name is Brandon. Today is June 12th. We are on page 24, and we are finishing up our pets article for the month. Today we're talking about 6 myths about pet allergies. And in the studio I have back Hazel. Welcome back.
Well, thanks, Brandon. I'm back, and we're talking about pets again.
Yes, we are, and talking about allergies, are you allergic to any pets, Hazel?
I don't think so. But when I hear pet allergies, I know my dog has an allergy.
Yeah, that can be confusing, right?
Yeah, it is a little confusing. And some pets do have allergies of their own. Mm-hmm. Some scratch a lot because they itch. And but this, I think, is talking about people that are allergic to certain pets.
And maybe we're not technically allergic to the animal itself, as we'll learn. We're allergic to the dander, which is a technical term that we'll get into later. How about you, Jack? Welcome back first.
Hey, thanks, Brandon.
Do you have any pet allergies?
No pet allergies. Very thankful for that because I do like animals. I like hanging out with them and petting them, and I hang out on the couch with our cats all the time. They like to sit next to us or on our laps. And so, yeah, thankful for that. But I actually, growing up, I did not have any dogs or cats. And the reason was because we have family who are allergic to pets. Not our immediate family, but we wanted to be able to welcome them into our house.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to kind of keep them away from our house because we had pets.
Sure.
So I know it's a real problem. I mean, people have to face it. If you have a family member or if you are allergic to pets, wow, it can be a kind of a hassle.
Well, I am allergic to cats, actually, or at least to some cats. I'm not around cats that often. I'm not a huge cat person. And actually, I didn't realize this until college, so I'm not sure if it developed later in life or maybe I was just not around cats enough. I was really never around cats when I was younger, so I did notice that. So I will get like watery eyes and maybe my nose will become kind of stopped up and so forth. So I have to take some medicine. But if I take medication, it's fine. But because I'm not a big cat person anyway, it kind of works out, right? I don't really need to be around them.
Maybe they're allergic to you,
Maybe
too.
they are, yeah. And that's all good because, we can have that thing together apart. So, anyways, a lot of people do have this. And it seems to me, I haven't taken an official survey, it seems that more people have problems with cats than dogs. That's what I've observed.
That could be, yeah.
But anyway, there are some myths about this, right? We're going to discuss 6 of them concerning pet allergies. Maybe you're thinking one way and that's not right. And so we're going to try to clear that up today as we get into our article on page 24. All right, now we will have our first reading. We're going to read Myth 1 and Myth 2.
Six myths about pet allergies. Myth 1. It's only pet hair that causes allergies to flare up. Not true. Pet hair is a nuisance and causes allergies, as it contains saliva or other pet proteins. Allergic reactions to pets are actually caused by pet proteins contained in pet dander, such as microscopic skin flakes, saliva, and urine. Overactive immune systems in those with allergies attack these otherwise harmless substances. Myth 2. Continuous exposure to animals will eventually desensitize you to them. Not only is this not true, But in some cases, the opposite is true. If you have a confirmed allergy to animals, it usually will not get better through increasing exposure. In fact, it may get worse.
All right, what is the first myth, Jack?
It's only pet hair that causes allergies to flare up. And this, of course, is labeled as a myth, and so they start out by saying, not true.
Pet hair that causes allergies. It's only pet hair that causes allergies to flare up. That's a good word to know. We use that with a word like allergy. Flare up.
Flare up means to get worse or suddenly appear. So when something flares up, you need to take care of it right away.
That's right. And so that's what happens when you have an allergic reaction. Like I have allergic reactions to cats, and that flares up. So, but they're saying this isn't true, that it says it's only pet hair that causes allergies to flare up. And they're saying, no, that's not true. Pet hair is a nuisance and causes allergies, as it contains saliva and other pet proteins. And so we're getting to what the real issue is. But first of all, pet hair is a nuisance, Jack.
I can say that is very true. And a nuisance is something that, it's a little bit troublesome. It's a kind of annoying, or it bothers you to deal with it. And Brandon, you mentioned maybe cats especially cause allergies. Well, I can tell you our cats have a lot of hair, and oh my goodness, it seems like an endless amount of hair. We keep a lot of what we call lint brushes around so that we can just get the hair up. And also another thing that they mention here, like you said, that pet hair contains saliva, and saliva is basically what your mouth produces, right? It's your 口水. And cats, of course, love to groom themselves. They lick themselves all over. So I think that's why cat hair particularly has a lot of saliva on it.
There we go. And there are other pet proteins as well. Allergic reactions to pets are actually caused by pet proteins contained in pet dander. That's the key word in this. We often talk about dander being the culprit, and that could be microscopic skin flakes, saliva, and urine. More specifically, dander is what, Hazel?
Well, it's the tiny particles from feathers, skin, hair. All right, and that's what causes the allergies. So little pieces of hair. We say dandruff.
Yeah.
Dandruff is something that people have when sometimes they're wearing a dark suit or a dark blouse, and you can see little specks of white on their shoulders, and so that's called dandruff.
That flaky
and that's
skin.
Their dander, right?
Yeah, right. And then overactive immune systems in those with allergies attack these otherwise harmless substances. So it seems here that an overactive immune system is part of the problem.
Yeah, and really that's the problem of allergies of almost any kind. I mean, when you have an allergy, it's often not a very harmful thing, whether it's maybe a little bit of plant pollen or plant substance, or it might be a dust or something, or in this case, dander. It's not the kind of things that would really kill you or hurt you or anything, but sometimes our immune systems just, they recognize those as it's something dangerous, and they start triggering those responses that make your body want to get rid of it.
And some allergies can be much more dangerous than others. I apparently have developed some sort of food allergy. And, you don't develop some of these until later in life. I don't know if either of you have any food allergies, Hazel.
I have a nephew that has peanut allergy, and that could kill him. He's so sensitive to peanuts.
Mine is some sort of hot sauce. So I was eating buffalo hot wings in the States, and it happened 2 or 3 different occasions at different places. I'm not really sure what it is, but I definitely had some sort of reaction. And it's scary if you've never had that, and then so you don't know what's going to happen, right? And so I just try to be careful. I haven't had any problems recently with that. But allergies can develop later in life. And so just because you were never allergic to this doesn't mean you never will be. Right? So that's something to be aware of.
And I think they can also go away after time.
I hope so.
Too. So maybe you have it when you're a child, and then later it's not a problem. So.
Right. Yeah.
You
that's
never
true.
know with allergies.
That's true. Well, what is myth 2, Jack?
Okay. Continuous exposure to animals will eventually desensitize you to them. And
That's kind of a funny one, isn't it? You think, I'll just be around the dog or cat more and it'll be fine.
yeah, maybe if I just resist and hold on and push through it, it'll get better.
Yeah.
But
that kind of you know, that makes sense that you would think that, but that's obviously they're saying that is not true. And we have this word desensitize. Sometimes we think the more we see something or do something, we will become desensitized, and that is true. We can use that word with the media. You know, we see violence in the news, and we just see it so often that we've become desensitized to it. Right? It doesn't really affect us anymore. Right? It's a negative thing that you don't really have a reaction to anymore. You've become sort of numb to it, right? And so in this case, they're saying, oh, you'll get used to it if you just stay around it longer. They're saying, no, that is not true. And they say not only is this not true, but in some cases the opposite is true, Jack.
yeah, so if you have a confirmed allergy to animals, they say, usually does not get better through spending more time with them. In fact, it probably will just get worse.
All right, so don't take that approach. Next, we're going to discuss myth 3 and myth 4, but first we'll have our next reading.
Myth 3. With the right pet breed, allergy problems go away. Not true. All cat or dog breeds produce dander. However, some breeds are believed to be better for allergy sufferers than other breeds. Typically, the best breeds are those that shed the least fur and/or are the most frequently bathed. Also, smaller dogs produce less saliva than do bigger dogs. Myth 4. Small animals are not a problem for allergies. Wrong. Hamsters, guinea pigs, birds, and other warm-blooded mammals can also trigger asthma and allergies in people with allergies to animal dander, according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
All right, with the right breed, allergy problems go away, right?
Not true.
No, that is not true. All cat or dog breeds produce dander. What about some breeds?
Well, however, some breeds are believed to be better for allergy sufferers than other breeds. And I have poodles, and poodles don't shed. And so they say that if you have an allergy, maybe a poodle is a good dog. There's some other breeds that don't shed. And so it's a lot easier, too. You don't have hair all over the place.
Yeah.
Although then they do need haircuts.
Right.
You know, so there's pros and cons.
Pros and
But if you're
cons,
allergic to some animals and you'd like to try, maybe meet somebody, spend some time with somebody that has a poodle or a dog that doesn't shed, and just see if you have allergies to that dog or not.
That's the key point, right? Whether or not it sheds, and that can be helpful if it doesn't shed very much. And also you need to, bathe them frequently and so forth. That can help. Also, smaller dogs produce less saliva than do bigger dogs, and so that's something to consider as well. Myth 4, small animals are not a problem for allergies. Jack, is that true?
Well, here they say wrong. Hamsters, guinea pigs, birds, other warm-blooded mammals can also trigger asthma and allergies. And this was really interesting to me because I think I've mentioned in the last few days, so we didn't have dogs or cats because of family. We wanted to be able to host them, and we did actually have some hamsters and for a little while some gerbils, which are like a kind of a small animal with a tail. And we actually never had problems with our family that had allergies, but probably because we kept them kind of separate.
Contained.
Yeah, and we kept the area clean, so maybe that's the reason they didn't get any allergies. But yeah, it sounds like it could be a problem still.
All right, so in other words, they're saying just because it's small doesn't mean that they will there are not allergies involved. But in some cases, maybe if you keep everything clean, that could be a big part. And I was thinking that if you have cats, for example, and you clean up a lot after them, and there's not much hair around, I think that really helps a lot. I noticed one time I was around cats, and I really didn't have an allergic reaction, but I think it's because it was they were cleaned up after, and there wasn't a lot of hair around. But that's hard to do, right? I mean, cats shed a lot, or some dogs. And
yeah,
so it's
probably. And of course, there's long-haired cats and dogs, and short-haired cats and dogs. So you can read a lot about the different breeds and see which one is suitable for you.
All right.
Yeah, I was actually really curious about. I know this is kind of a strange example, but at least there's kind of a famous question about like these hairless cats and sometimes dogs too. Like, and those are people say, oh, they don't give you allergies and so on. But apparently, maybe it's just because they don't have as much hair to share the dander. But
Right.
it seems like they could still give you allergies.
I don't know.
Do you know anything about
I
these?
don't know
Yeah.
either. I don't know.
I've only been around cats and dogs that have
I
hair.
think
mostly.
a lot of those are kind of almost exotic. I mean,
Yeah.
they're rare. Maybe I shouldn't say exotic pets, but they're very rare
Yeah.
to find a hairless breed. They're available, but rare. So, again, maybe a dog that doesn't shed. There's a lot of dogs that don't shed. Or
Yeah.
short-haired dogs might be a little bit safer bet. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to get a puppy and then find out you're allergic to it. So maybe
Right,
check with your doctor or a vet to see what they recommend, and maybe find somebody that has that kind of animal and visit see how it goes.
Yeah. Right, that's a really good tip. Well, we have 2 more myths to discuss as we go to our next reading for today, Myth 5 and Myth 6, so stay tuned.
Myth 5. Outside the home, you shouldn't have pet allergies. Not necessarily. Because of their microscopic size and jagged shape, pet allergens easily stick to clothing and other fabrics and are carried to other locations. Animal dander, in sufficient levels to cause allergies, can be found in many public places such as the workplace, classrooms, and hospitals, according to the American Lung Association. Myth 6. An air purifier will help with pet allergies. It depends on the air purifier. Only a high-performance air purifier can help. Some allergy sufferers report that small, low-quality air cleaners make little or no difference at all.
But you're outside your home. No problems, right, Jack?
Well, not necessarily. So the microscopic size and jagged shape of the pet dander and these other pet allergens, they easily stick to things and can be carried all over the place.
This one's interesting. I wouldn't expect this. I've personally never had a problem with allergies in this way that I'm aware of. But I guess apparently it can happen, especially if there's enough dander, right? It says dander in sufficient levels to cause allergies. Of course, there might be a little bit here and there. It doesn't cause many problems, but if there's enough, it could. Now, we talk about this jagged shape. I think of a rock or something when I think of the word jagged, Hazel.
Maybe some sharp edges. So the opposite would be smooth and straight or smooth. But when I think of angles, and when I think of a jagged shape, jagged pieces of glass, something that could be dangerous or cut you even. Mm-hmm. So I guess this jagged shape must hang on to things.
Yeah. And you don't think of that. You're on the subway or something, and, who knows what little things that you pick up. And that happens a lot. I don't think it's something we have to worry about too much because we're accustomed to that. I think our body is used to that to some degree, but we could pick up a lot of dander in one place or the other, and that could cause some problems. And these can be found in public places such as the workplace, classrooms, and hospitals, according to this American Lung Association.
Maybe the zoo.
That's right. Yeah, watch out when you go to the zoo. But this is something just to be aware of. I guess you wouldn't really worry about this too much unless you had a problem, and then you would maybe know that the source could have been maybe picked up a lot of dander somewhere. What is myth 6, Jack?
And an air purifier will help with pet allergies. And when I read that title at first, I thought, well, yeah, of course. It sounds like that would be true.
But it depends, right? Depends on the
Yeah.
air purifier. Not all air purifiers are equal, apparently, Hazel.
That's true. If you get one that's small and low quality, maybe it won't really make a difference. But I know there are some air purifiers that have good reputations and probably work well. And so you could try that.
Right, we have one as an example here called IQ Air in the sidebar there. And you can go to their website if you're interested in learning more about that.
Which makes a lot of sense because, I mean, probably almost all of the allergies caused by these pet dander and pet allergens would be when you breathe it in, right? It's primarily once it gets into your nose and your lungs. And so, yeah, I mean, even if you have, say, a pet, perhaps, you know, you could maybe help a friend or somebody who comes and visits you by having this air purifier, keeping the air clear of some of these allergens.
That's right, and cleaning up, right, if you're having guests that may be allergic. I know I would appreciate that. And, you know, if you are allergic to an animal, well, you can take medication, of course, before you go over to someone's house. And I know that helps me. I don't know if that works the same way with everyone, but that's something else that you can do as well. Or maybe not stay too long at the person's house. Maybe you can only stay a couple of hours, right? So those are some things to take into account. Now, we do have some time left today, and since Hazel's here with us and she has a lot of experience with pets and so forth, do you have any just general tips that you could share with us, Hazel, and how to best take care of a pet?
Well, I guess, as I mentioned before, be sure you, if you're choosing a pet, be careful about that. And it's very easy to see a cute little puppy and think, oh, that's the one. But, you know, you want to read about the breed and see if it's suitable for you. Or even better, you might go to a pet rescue place, an animal shelter, and find a puppy or a dog. And
how did you determine, Hazel, what kind of pets were suitable for you?
Well, I've had a few rescue pets, and I had read about poodles, and I really wanted a poodle because they're kind of circus dogs. They're smart, and you see them do tricks and things like that. And most poodles get along with everyone pretty well. They get along with other dogs pretty well, and they're very friendly. I thought about some other breeds that I really liked, but when I read about them, they weren't always safe around strangers. And I didn't want people or kids coming up and petting a dog and then maybe getting bit or injured.
Well,
so
that's
I thought
important.
A poodle is a good breed for me.
I really love yellow labs.
Yeah.
Those are and those are very gentle dogs. I mean, they can be very hyper and they're very loving, but I think they're very good with people. I had one when I was younger. Unfortunately, I didn't live very long, but I think those are some of the best dogs that a person could have, in my opinion, just because of their nature, right?
And golden retrievers are good too, but they're long hair, so maybe a short-haired dog like a lab would be good if you might have an allergy. I had Irish setters, and I've noticed I don't hear much about them anymore, but growing up I had a few of those, and they were very sweet dogs and lovable. So there's a dog for everybody out there, so just read about them. But again, shelter can be a good place to find a good pet.
That's right. You can rescue a pet, bring it in, give it a nice home, right? So that's something to think about as well. Well, we have discussed many words over the past few days, and I just want to ask our panelists to highlight one or two before we go today. Jack, what's a word that you want to highlight?
Okay, I want to highlight desensitize from today. It's in myth number 2. So you can see the word sense in there, S-E-N-S, and then you would have an E. Those are your senses. If you are sensitive or if you're sensitized to something, then you feel it or you notice it with your senses very very much. But if you've become desensitized, then you no longer sense it. You are no longer feeling it. And as you mentioned, Brandon, we can become desensitized to a lot of things. Could be ideas. It could be feelings. It could be, in this case, allergens.
All right. Hazel, a word?
How about the word nuisance?
Yeah.
Something that bothers you, you get annoyed, and I think that's something that happens to us probably on a daily basis. Someone or something bothers us, and we just need to get used to it or learn to handle a problem or solve it.
Yeah.
I know sometimes something is a nuisance, and I don't really stop and think about the solution, and I notice around the house, oh, that's such a nuisance. And then finally when I stop and say, why don't you do something about it? Oh, yeah, that's an easy problem to solve, right? But so...
That's a good tip for life, I think. We often think, oh, why does this keep happening? And you just complain about it, but you don't stop to think about what can I do about it. That's a good question we can ask ourselves. We also have the phrase track record that we learned earlier. And, if you have a track record, you're talking about the achievements or failures that you have. And we learned how Mr. McNeil had a proven track record. And so that's something we can think about, if we have a company or something like that, or we're trying to accomplish something. What is a person's track record? That's a good phrase to know. And we also learned the word catalyst, an event or person that causes great change. And the catalyst for something, the reason why something happened. And so that's a good word to know. Well, as we come to an end today, I would like to remind you about our Topic Talks videos. Be sure to check those out. And also, we hope you will join us for each article this month in Advanced Magazine. We have come to the end of our pets article for the month. We hope that you have found this to be an interesting topic, and maybe you can apply some of this information to your own life. Especially today's topic, if you know someone with an allergy, be sure to share this article with them. Join us again next time here on Advanced Studio Classroom. Until then, this is Brandon,
Hazel,
and Jack
saying goodbye.
Bye, everybody.